Welcome to the Journey to Wholeness, a podcast by I See My Baby Incorporated. Here, we dive deep into powerful stories of those who have overcome life's greatest challenges, stories of resilience, healing, and renewed faith. I'm Alicia Hurt, your host, and each week we'll speak to individuals who have transformed struggles with infertility, battles with depression, and crisis of faith into profound growth and purpose. Hello, everyone. It's Alicia Hurt here, your servant leader, and I am here with another episode of the Journey to Wholeness. I have another wonderful guest with me, Miss Valerie with Do Well. How you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Alicia. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes. So let's jump right in. I can't wait to dive into your story, and then you have some really neat things. So please stay in the loop, listening, get your notepad out because you may miss something. Okay, so let's get started with you telling us about your background and what brought you to this journey.
Oh my God, that's a long story, but I will try to keep it short, okay? And if you have questions, please be sure to ask them in the meantime. So my journey started, I was a toddler. Unfortunately, I was abused in my family at that age, but I didn't realize the impact or what it was and all of that until I was preteen. Then I got into the preteen, the teen. I was not physically abused anymore, but the secret needs to stay there. So it's really when I was at a university that it's kind of, oh my God, I didn't know what I was having, but I was having nightmare, I was having flashback, I was having difficulty eating, I was having difficulty with my periods. I was having like all my body was yelling something's going on, basically. So I saw doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and they diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress disorder. That was the first answer. And it was kind of, okay, now that they know what I have, they will find a way to help me. But the thing is, I was continuing to getting worse and worse. And the doctor tell me, you know what, mom, I cannot do anything for you. You will just get worse with the year.
Mm.
And I was at that point, I was in pain. I was having fibromyalgia that I developed because of it. I was having physical pain. I was tired. I don't know if you know about fibromyalgia, but there's a lot of symptoms going with it. But for me, of course, when they tell me that at the first, it was kind of, oh, and I was kind of feeling that the old medical system was abandoning me, if I can say, like I was not worthy of help. So that was a period that was pretty tough. Then arrived mid-20s. I was having two kids. I was volunteering in a first responder service as first aid. I was even in charge of some team and to implement the first responder service in Quebec province with other people. I was one person out of the team. But that means I was doing a lot of emergency service. And that was at some point, it was kind of, I cannot do it anymore. It's just too much. So unfortunately, I had to stop volunteering. I had to stop what I was doing as first responder and all of that. Life continued, and it was kind of no hope. And then one day, my mom asked me, Val, why do you have so much pasta? Are you cooking for an army? And I need to say that at that time, my husband just joined the military. So it was kind of, it's a joke, but, you know. But when she left, I opened my pantry. I maybe had 50 packs of pasta, 20 pounds of flour, and I don't know how many cans. And I look around, there were piles of paper on my countertop, piles of paper on my dining room table. Kids has more toy than a daycare. And I opened my closet and I was having clothes 3 size up, 3 size down, just in case my weight changed.
Mm.
So I was having lots of things, but for me, it was a sign that, oh, we are living a good life because we're able to afford a lot of things. We kind of grew up in a society where consumption is big, you know? So, okay, that was it. Yes, I have a lot, but it's okay, you know? It was justified, let's say. And then we had to move because my husband was posted the other side of the country. They sent a moving estimator to come home, and he looked around the house and he told me, Ma'am, we cannot move you. You have to let go of at least half your belongings. Half the belongings. That was like a punch in the belly, you know? It was really like, how will I do that? We have 3 months. In 3 months, it's our moving date. So that was really when I realized I had too much stuff. And then the 3 month passed, we were not able to declutter during that 3 months. Forget it. We didn't know how. We didn't have someone to help us. It was kind of, we arrived at the end of the 3 months and my husband has to move forward first. And I stayed behind with the two toddlers. So that night, I really, really broke down. And I cried like I never cried before. I was asking some question, what will I do with all of this? I was asking question like, am I a hoarder? But I'm still able to invite guests over. I'm still able to hide the thing in the closet or in my bedroom and it's look good for inviting people. And all these questions were there, will I ever be reunited with my husband? So there's a lot on that evening where I cried. But it made me decide that I don't want to go more down than I was. I was what we call rock bottom, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to go further than that. So the following morning, I decided, okay, what if I declutter 30 minutes every day? Yeah, I can maybe manage that. So I tried that. And that was a roller coaster. What I mean by a roller coaster is that I was decluttering. And then on the weekend, I go to drop the donation at a thrift store or a donation center. And on my way back, I see sign for garage sale opening there, another garage sale over there. And my heart was racing, you know, what treasure can I find over there? So at the beginning, it was the roller coaster of emotion because when you start letting go, you often need to purchase or feel that emptiness that you just created. Even if you want to let go, there's an emptiness that is created, and that is scary when we try to declutter because we have trauma in our past. So after a couple months, what happened is I had no more nightmare, no more flashback. I was eating properly. I was having so much energy that I didn't needed a nap in the afternoon anymore. I was more smiling. Basically, all my health was getting back on track. My mental health, particularly. So I was having less pain as well. So I was really happy with that. And further down the road, we were able to reunite the family. But I suffered so much that I promised my husband and God, I will help other people so they don't suffer like we suffered. From there, I started doing home staging. You know, when you prepare the home before a move.
Yes.
But I realized pretty fast that people are able to put a frame here or a plant there and a blanket on there. They're able to do that. The struggle is in the decluttering before doing that. That's where the struggle is. So I became a professional organizer to really be able to help people declutter. But almost every client that I was seeing, I was going in home back then. Almost every client were telling me stories of trauma. Maybe because I'm open to that, because I had suffered as well. But they were sharing their experience with me. So I sit down with my husband, we start doing some research, and we contacted neuroscientists, psychiatrists, lots of people and researcher, So realize after reading lots of paper that there's a link between the trauma and the clutter. A link that nobody talks about because trauma is taboo and clutter is taboo as well. So put two taboo together. No, we don't talk about this, But I decided I would talk about it. So I continue helping people in home back then. We published her book, Put That Stuff Down, in 2018. And from there, life happened, and I needed to take a step back from the business to help a member of her family that was suffering from trauma. So it was kind of, if I'm helping other people, I need to help my family too. So I stepped back for 2 years. But when I come back, it was COVID. What did COVID do for people? It traumatized them. So the people that were traumatized before COVID, that have another trauma above their trauma, it just completely disorganized them. People lost like piles of boxes and they start buying online more, and then the click button, the order button is pretty easy. So people started to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. But inside, they were not feeling good because of their trauma. They don't call it retail therapy for nothing, So we decided to reopen the business and starting helping people really go through what was going on. And this is when we decided to create an online program, be able to help people and reach out to more people in the world. Like we have people in Australia and Great Britain and US and Canada. So it was really, and we launched that during the Coping with Trauma Summit that has 40 experts talking about trauma. So we hosted that. And since then, our program is growing. That's awesome. Not for the fact that my program is bigger, for the fact that I'm able to help more people to see their transformation, to see the people arriving with their shoulder and keeping their camera off at the beginning because they don't want to be seen, eventually having a rested posture and able to be on camera and able to show their background on camera.
Yeah.
So to see that transition and see people opening themselves and really be able to let go of what I call the coping mechanism of the trauma, like purchasing things or overeating or name them, they're all the like coping mechanism, like addiction and things like that. So it's really fantastic. And that's where we are right now. So that's why I'm coming on different podcasts, because I want to share that there's hope. Even if doctor tells you, you know what, it's like that, you have to do it to do with it, No, that's not true. We can get out of what I call the trauma's grip on us. We can free ourselves. We can take control of our life and be happy, and that's possible.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
So I want to step back because I was taking copious notes, like I told everybody else. But I do want to start with what you just ended with. There's hope. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
That
Beautiful.
is my mantra that God has
Yeah,
shown me in my life. There is hope, right? In everything.
there
You
is.
opened up with saying that your life and your journey started as a toddler. And I want to really hone in on that because the age of a toddler is about 1 to maybe 3, I think, like 3-ish, 4-ish age.
Up to 4, yeah, before
4.
they get into kindergarten. Yes.
So for your journey to start there with such a traumatic experience,
It's
Lord
young.
knows if you didn't grab hold of hope, if you did not have a community around you, and we'll talk about that, if you didn't have the will, your life, your trajectory would have been very different than it is today. And so I commend you
Completely.
for that.
Thank you.
And you said that at a different time in your life, the physical aspect of the abuse ended, which was great. However, as you continued on in life, that trauma, it took root in you. It took root
Yeah.
in you. So even though you were moving forward, even though you were like, yeah, I'm great, your body was sending signals to say, you're not. You're not. So
Completely. I
talk
agree.
about that more. And also, were you able to communicate what happened to you to your loved ones, friends, or family?
Not before. In fact, when it was discovered, it was really like another trauma. So I was talking with some other people in my extended family, and we were wanting to go see the movie Titanic. And one of the people in my extended family said, "Oh, let's bring that person with us." And then I became completely blamed, you know. I became, no, I don't want. And I observed that I was not the only one not wanting. So we start talking about it together. But one of them, that was a Christmas dinner with all the extended family there, decided to shout that out at the Christmas dinner. So then the extended family, some take one side, some take other side, and it was fighting, and it was a nightmare, basically. That's how it get known.
Wow.
And but yes, the mind, and the spirit were affected by the trauma, you know. Even if the silence was broken, the effect of the trauma on the body, the mind, and the spirit were still kind of eating us, keeping it in his grip, you know. It was still evaluating inside myself.
Wow.
So trauma is not finished because the silence is broken or because the act is finished. You know, trauma persists in time. Trauma get its root in chaos and thrive in chaos.
And how were you able to, or what tools did you use to cope? Because you know, you get the diagnosis from the doctor, but you still have to
Oh,
show up and do your own work, right? You still have to push through. So, like, what were some coping mechanisms that you used?
oh my God, I tried medication, I tried therapy, I tried EMDR, I tried hypnosis, I tried NLP, I tried, name them, you know, the list goes on. I did lots of retreat. I even be hospitalized. I went to some seminar on self-growth and different subject. Basically, to be able to get out of it, I needed, one, to let go of my clutter, and two, it cost me over $100,000
Wow.
because nobody's there to pay for my trauma. If I want to get out, I needed to put the money for the therapist or the money for the seminar or the money for that book or the money for that specialist or the money for it's always like, and it's sad. But at the same time, I understand that all these people that helped me, they need to eat as well.
Right.
They need to live and they need to eat as well. And now I'm on the side that I'm helping and I need to eat as well. So it's like that. But yeah, not sure I answered the question, but I use meditation, I art therapy, I use hot and cold shower, alternating shower. That's the word I was searching. I use yoga. I use mindfulness. I use exercise. I use like the list. The list is long. And that's what I like in our program that we created, is that we take everything that is out there and we curated it with the one step, the ones step with the S, the steps that are really working and are really efficient.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So
So
people don't have to look everywhere like
everywhere.
I had to
That's
do.
it. That's it. Because you said, you know what, I paid the price. I went through this. However, I'm going to pay it forward. And I love that. You found your purpose and your why. You talked a little bit
Yeah.
about rock bottom.
Yes.
That's a place nobody wants to go to or even talk about. But how do you know that you hit rock bottom? Like, what does that look like?
I was suicidal at that point. I was having so many holes in my memory. I was dissociating most of the time in the day, maybe 20 hours out of 24. I was having difficulty sleeping. I was feeling no emotion at all anymore. It was just emptiness.
Yeah.
It was all dark.
How'd you pull yourself out of it?
I did it for my kids and for my husband at the beginning. I wasn't able to do it for me because I wasn't having self-worth. So I did it because I was wanting to help my children. Both are adopted, and I was wanting to help them have a better life.
Yeah.
And I did it for my husband that helped me through all the process as well.
Yeah.
You know, lots of men will take their leg and fly, you know, but he stayed there with me every step of the way and he helped me every step of the way. And he's still there today, you know. So that's remind me, you know, at some point he was on a mission and I was worried about him because he was doing a mission out sea, you know, and he was worried about me because of my PTSD. So it was kind of, okay, happy trauma life, you know. But yeah, and I pray, prayer and God or universe or anyone, any way people want to call that higher power, you know. I get the hook on that, and all. That's how I was able to get out.
Amen. Amen. And you guys heard what she said, like rock bottom definitely looks different for everyone, but for the most part, it's when you have nowhere else to go.
Yeah,
Like literally you're looking around and you're like, this is like, I need help. There's nothing else. Like I ran out of ideas, suggestion, places.
yeah.
I am
It's
critical.
it's either that or suicide.
Mhm.
That's the only place different that you see at that point.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you said the way that you pulled yourself out, it wasn't just you, that it was the people around you. It was your spouse, it was your children. And you said, I don't want this for them, right? I don't want
Yeah.
this for them. And that gave you the will to live. So whatever it is,
Correct.
it could be your support animal, right? It could be your
Yeah,
neighbor that depends on you to help them to go to the grocery store, but something will trigger you to help you to pull yourself out of it. and to do one day at a time, because literally, and it's sometimes not even one day, it's
one,
from moments.
1 minute at a time,
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah.
1 30 second at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I also like is that we both look different. However, we identify with that struggle, with that place, and the fact that we can use similar tools. You're somewhere else. I'm somewhere else, right? Our lives are different, right? Your accent's different than mine, but we have similarities in the fact that we've had those struggles, and then we're able to utilize those tools, similar to what you said about your course. And you went through and you experienced it, and you said, you know what? I'm going to give back. I'm going to turn my pain into my purpose to live and to support others. And I don't know about you, but even to this day, with the traumas that I've gone through in my life, I have moments where I'm like, thank you. And I'm just sitting gratitude, because as I'm helping other people, I'm still healing.
Oh, totally. And it's also to see all the difference in the other people, all the impact on their life and the life of the people that surrounded them, and so on, So it's just beautiful to see. It's beautiful to do.
You used a word called emptiness. That word is glazed over at times. And so I really want to sit in it and help people understand what that means, how you feel, right? What is that? What is emptiness?
Emptiness is really, it was when I was close to rock bottom. Is it at that moment, or the emptiness when I start decluttering and there's a shelf that is empty?
Let's
Because
talk
that's
about
two
both of them.
different.
Yes.
Yeah. So the first emptiness referred to not being able to do something anymore. I have no more energy inside. I have no more willpower. I have no more. There's no emotion. It's almost feeling not human. There's nothing more I can pour in to provide and to give other. That's that emptiness that I felt when I was at rock bottom.
And I believe that when you're at that point, you then gravitate towards surrender, because you're not your own. Like you don't know what else to do. And we talk about higher power. We talk about God, Jehovah, Jesus. And at that point, it's like, I need you, because I don't know what to do. And that's when he can show up.
Yeah. That's where you realize that he was there all way long,
waiting on you, like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. And now talk about the other emptiness.
The other emptiness, when we had a trauma and we have that tendency to either purchase or accumulate items around ourselves, we get used to those items. We get used to that comfort. We get used to, it's almost like a comfort zone. It's like a nest. It's like a fortress that you build around yourself. So you have the control of who gets in or not, and what object gets in or not, It's the way of taking back control because we lost control in the past. At least I will control this.
Right.
And when we start to let go, even if we want to let go of the item and declutter, and the first time you empty a shelf, it's wrong. There's something wrong. There's nothing on it. That emptiness is scary. It's people will have an anxiety crisis. Even it can go to a panic attack. So it needs to be calm, and it needs to be planned when you start decluttering. Because otherwise, 1 week later, 1 day later, there will be things on that shelf. It won't take long and it will be full again. I call clutter like a pendulum. You let go of it, it comes back. You let go of it, it comes back, and so on. So if you let go of things that are on your countertop and you don't do it the proper way, it will come back. You clear your garage in the spring. In the fall, it's full again. You clear your garage in the fall. In the spring, it's clear again. It's really like the pendulum of clutter, you know. We need to stop that pendulum from happening.
Yeah. Amen. I
And
didn't think about it
yeah,
like that, that pendulum. It's so true. And then as you're talking about like giving us real live things like the kitchen countertop, you're like, I just cleaned that off in the work. Because you didn't change that habit. You didn't really, it's gonna continue. It's gonna
yeah,
continue. Oh, that's good. That's deep. Okay, so promise. We kind of touched on it, right? But you promised in your healing and getting out of that rock bottom and emptiness place, you promised that you would help other people. Like, talk about that promise.
that's an engagement. That's a promise. That's a decision that nobody forced me to promise that, you know. But I take it as my purpose and as my mission. It's
And
really
does it feel
that.
like work?
No, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yes, there are some things in the activities that surround that that will feel like work. But when you're with the client, when you're helping, no, that doesn't feel like work. That's pleasure.
Yes. And you have you're filled up, you're fulfilled.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know, it's very
yes.
different.
Yes, completely different. And it's like sometimes, mentor tell us, you need to take some vacation. I don't know. I don't know. I will take some. And then on those day of vacation, I need to help that person. Because you
Even
fell
on
back on
vacation,
it.
you helping people.
Yes.
I have to tell people, listen, just tell me to be quiet because I'm going to have a solution. Like, I'm going to fix you, right? I'm going to give you some sparks, and they're like, no, it's okay. I'm like, listen, because I will, like, this is my passion. When you're walking in your purpose and your passion, it just comes naturally.
Correct.
So you talked about a book that you published, I believe it was in 2018, called Put That Stuff
Yes.
Down. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
talk about it.
that is the second edition, actually. The
Okay.
first original Podesta Down was all white. But that is the second edition that we published last fall. So basically, it's the first edition buffed.
Gotcha.
Like we added some material in it, and we added some examples, some stories, and so it's more than what was in the first edition. But the two edition together, we sold over 40,000 copies.
Wow. That's a big
So
deal. Y'all had to
we
get a
we
copy.
want we want to make an impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to change people's life, and it can start with a book. With what they read. With it can start with a podcast. It can start. It need one thing to give hope.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone facing some similar challenges that you have spoke of? Or maybe it's something different, but it resonated with them. What advice would you give?
One step at a time. Like if you climb some stairs or if you climb a ladder, you want to take the first step before thinking about the step 8. You need to go baby step, one step after the other, and celebrate every single step. Because it's the celebration that will create some good hormones in your brain that will make that you will do the second step. And that's the celebration in your brain that you will do the third step, and so on.
Yeah.
And at one point, your brain got addicted on those good hormones and will want to do the step, and you will start walking faster and running. And first thing you'll know, you'll get out of there. I have some clients that have suffered decades. When I see decades, sometimes they have suffered almost all their life. It may be 60 years, 70 years, 80 years sometimes. I have some that have suffered less than that, but 80 years of suffering. Can you imagine that? It's way too much. Even if it takes a year or 2 or 3 to get out of that suffering.
That's right.
To continue living the rest of the life. It's worth it. Like, I have seen people that came to see me that I've seen therapists for 40 years or 20 years. But in a year, 2 or 3, they're out there by themselves and they're flying. They're having control over their life. They're happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a way out. There's a way out. Don't stay stuck there.
That's right. How do you maintain resilience?
Yes, that's the resilience is close to the other thing I was about to say, but I was about to say, at the beginning, even if you don't have hope, or even if you don't believe in yourself, you can take in the belief that someone else has in you.
I like that. That's good.
Even if you don't believe, if I believe in you, for example, you can, what's the word? Not pour, the opposite of pour, but grab that hope from myself, grab that belief, grab that self-worth. And until when you will be able to be self-worthy and having hope by yourself.
Right. Right.
So, and that I think is one of the key to resiliency. So the subject was just going perfectly.
Yes.
So, and I think it's the key to resiliency because alone, you're in the downward spiral, up to when you rock at bottom. But if you have other people that give hope to you, that believes in you, you can take that like if you hang on a rope, not hang, but you hold the rope, and then they start to pull you out of the hole,
Yes.
And eventually they send you a ladder, and then you will be able to climb that ladder. But it will be one tool after the other up to when you will get out.
That's right. That's right. Amen. So as we are closing out, I would love for you to talk about your special offer for the listeners here and also how they can connect with you and get started with your course.
Yeah, of course. So we have developed what we call the Do Well method. That is a 4-step process, and this is the way we help people. Now, you can find the Do Well method in our book, but I have extracted some part of the book that I call the 7 secrets of decluttering. And the 7 secrets of decluttering, I did kind of an infographic, and people can have that for free. And I'll give you an example of a secret, When people touch their belongings because they're decluttering, often what happens is 15 minutes after, oh, it's too much, I'll go do something else, or I'm scrolling on my phone, or whatever, That's because people become overwhelmed by all the emotion, the memories, everything that comes up, even if they're not conscious of them. All that wave come to them. And that's because there's a link between the sense of touch and the limbic system in the brain. And this is where the trauma is stored. The trauma is stored in the limbic system as well. So when you touch your belongings, you activate that. Let's say it's time to play. So people feel overwhelmed and then stop. Bless you. So it's really when you wear a pair of gloves, for example, then you're not touching the item anymore. And people are able to declutter 40% more, have no regrets on their decision because they make objective decision instead of emotional decision. So that's just one of the 7 secrets that is on that list that I'm sharing.
Ooh,
so if you want to get the 6 other secrets, you need to click on the link that Alicia will share. And from there, you put your name, emails, and you get the 7 secrets.
Yes.
And you may hear back from me, but I suggest you to either contact your customer service. You will have the address, we'll send you some email. But that's the easiest way to book a call with me or one of the other people that helped me on that mission to really be able to get better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And what is one message that you hope listeners take away from your story?
It's possible. It is possible to get out of the trauma grip. It is possible to stop that suffering.
Amen. It's possible. Because why? There's hope.
Yes, totally.
Well, thank you so much, Valerie. Like, I can listen to you all day. You're so soothing, calm, assertive, knowledgeable. I love giving the flowers while you're here. So we definitely will want you back again. I do have another podcast coming down the pike that I think you will fit well with. And I would like to connect you directly with some of my clients and colleagues because you're such a value add. And I'm thinking about this book, Put That Stuff Down, as stocking stuffers and gifts. Okay. Because it's a big deal.
Yeah, and send me an email. Send me an email for that.
Okay.
Because if you want to put it in stockers, what I can do is I can do a bulk order.
Okay.
Instead of you ordering one at a time, you will save on shipping and things like that. So
awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, all of her information, contact, the special offer for those 7 tips will be at the bottom of this video. You guys take care and continue navigating your journey to wholeness. Thank you for joining us today on the journey to wholeness. We hope this episode has offered you a sense of hope, comfort, and perhaps even a new perspective on your own journey. If today's story resonated with you, remember that you're not alone. Healing is a process, and each step you take brings you closer to wholeness. Here, we believe in the power of community, and we're so grateful to have you as a part of us. To stay connected with us, follow I See My Baby Incorporated on social media and visit our website at www.iseemybaby.org. If you or someone you know has a story to share, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep walking, keep healing, and remember, your journey to wholeness is worth every step. Take care, and thank you